Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna say that we're a little bit crammed at the moment. Maybe let's utilise a bit more of the back section of the gym. So let's all so we'll spread out. Maybe yeah, there we go. Awesome. So I'm gonna see a nice little turnout today. How about that? So we're a bunch of people that are serious about our mobility and functionality, and this is really important to implement in your weekly exercise routine. So we've got 3 forms of stretches tonight, guys. We're going to start with our functional stretches. We're going to move on to some dynamic stretches and some static stretches. For our functional section, it's going to be whole body. Then when we move on to dynamic and static, we're going to start with the lower limb, and then we proceed with the upper body. Is there any questions? Is that all pretty clear? Alright, let's rip in, guys. So to start off with, we're going to start with our squat combinations. So feet shoulder width apart, toes facing forward, and when you're ready, we're going to go for a nice deep squat, getting all the way down, elbows on the inside of our knees, and pushing right out. Let's hold that for a couple of seconds. 3, 2, 1. Slowly making our way back up, guys. We're going to go for about 5 repetitions. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to hand out our resistance bands, which we'll be using a little later on. Okay, let's get back into it, guys. Alrighty, guys, so just be handing over the resistance bands. We'll be using this when we do our lower body, static, and dynamic stretches. Yeah, so good to see you. Well done. Jenny, good to see you too.
Yeah.
It's been a week without you. We noticed your absence.
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Oh,
God.
it's been worse.
I'm dying. The depression's setting in.
Yeah, you couldn't make it a hat trick, no way. It's been too worse. That's good. There you go. No, that's alright. Main thing is you're back. We got you. Awesome. Right, guys, we're going to move on now to our lunge combos. So we're going to go for a nice long stride, and there should be a nice little gap between our rear and our leg, hinging back the hips in a nice upright position, activating our core and glutes, and we're going to get our knee all the way to the ground, guys. If we struggle, that's okay, guys, but let's really work on increasing the mobility in our knees and hips. Speaking of hips, what we'll do now is we're going to lunge forward slightly. So you should feel that nice little stretch in your hip flexors. If you'd like to add to this stretch, what we can do is get our chest right over our knee and hug your shin. Hold for a couple of seconds, make your way back over to your feet and alternate legs, guys. Constant alternations after a couple of seconds of holding. Awesome, Philip, how are you going with that?
Alright.
Fantastic, right, let's get a nice little gap between our front and rear leg. We'll hinge back at the hips, Philip. Core tight, glutes tight, and nice and slow. Let's get your rear knee all the way down. Just like that. Beautiful. Alright, Philip. Now thrust the hips forward. And we'll get your chest right over your knee and hug your shin. Beautiful. Slowly make your way back up. Keep your core and glutes activated and swap those legs around. Awesome. Now we're looking over here, guys. Everyone's looking good. Jenny K, always consistent, well done.
Go, Jenny.
Solid.
See you guys.
See ya.
See you, Riley.
See you later. Alright guys, a couple more alternations, let's go. Beautiful form. So we've got one more stretch for our dynamic sector, guys, and that's going to be our bird dogs. So let's plop onto our hands and knees, just like so. So everyone in this position, I'll do a 360 rotation so we can see. Nice and simple. And what we're going to do is we're going to work with opposites. If I've got to reach out with my right hand, that means I kick out with my left leg. And I'm extending my body as far as I possibly can. So I'm reaching right out with my right hand, kicking right out with my left leg, holding for about 3 seconds, and I'm going to swap them around. Now, reaching out with my left arm means I kick out with my right leg, and I'm trying to kick out as far as I can and reach out as far as I can in front of you guys. Keep your core activated and activate that stability. How are you all looking? Oh, looking really good, guys. Fantastic. Let's go a couple more repetitions. Guys, we're going to move on to our second sector, which is our dynamic and static stretches. As mentioned at the start, we're going to start with our lower limb. So everyone lying down on your back. Let's start by lying down on our backs. We're going to interlock our fingers, just like this. Place them on the back of the knee. And nice dynamic hamstring pumps, guys. So bending and extending that knee. So the aim here, guys, is every couple of reps, look to try to get a little bit further with your range of motion to the point where you can straighten out your knee and get a nice full stretch of the hamstrings. Once you're able to achieve that, point your toes backwards towards you, and that'll just enhance the stretch. Right, so make sure we're getting nice dynamic pumps, guys. Constant motion, constant movement. Nice, looking fantastic. Okay, so now we're going to shift with the same leg. We'll now interlock our fingers again. You'll now be grabbing onto the front of your shin, and with your arms, you're going to be pulling your knee right back towards your chest, as far as you can. A nice little static stretch for your hip flexors. This one, which very shortly we're going to transition into turning this into a hip flexor stretch, into a glute stretch. Okay, let's see how awesome going on. Alrighty guys, now what we're going to do is keep that tension there, so stay in this position, and we're going to rotate our knee inwards towards our opposite shoulder. So continuing to pull back, but we're going to pull to the side at the same time. A nice diagonal pull. Try to get this knee to your opposite shoulder. So if you just push a little bit further out, you should feel this right in the point of the glute. Are you feeling that? Fantastic. Okay. And everyone's comfortable? Everyone's feeling okay so far? Fantastic. Nice. Well done, Lily. Let's just get the knee pulled back a little bit more. We're going to pull that right. Okay. Feeling that there? Fantastic. Well done. Alright guys, well done. We're going to move on to the next leg now. So we'll go back from the start, interlocking your fingers, place them on the back of the knees, and let's go for some nice dynamic hamstring pumps. Is there any notable injuries in the lower limb that I should be aware of before we get into the more strenuous stuff? Okay, this nice, yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, of course. Okay. We'll be doing a little bit of ankle mobility later. So when we get to that point, we'll just start with a quick little chat about how to progress slightly. Awesome.
Trainer Jenny's October.
Yeah, that's coming up soon, guys. That's an exciting one. Right, let's look before you extend that knee. Now point that toe back towards the body. Beautiful effort, guys. Well done. Alright, now we're going to move on to our shin stretch. So grabbing our shins, interlocking our hands, and pulling our knee right back to our chest. Alright, pull as far as you're able to, as far as you can, where you feel that nice little stretch and you're comfortable without the point of going beyond reasonable tension. Alrighty guys, holding for another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and keep in that position. We're now going towards our opposite shoulder. And by doing so, you should feel this stretch right at the point of the glutes. Can I just get a quick yes from everyone if you can feel that in the glutes? Yeah? Right, that's 1 out of 10. Anyone else?
Okay.
Yeah. 2, 3, alright, there we go, now we're talking. Lily, you feeling it?
Yeah.
4, and 5, okay, sweet, cool. Right now, there we go. And everyone's feeling okay, there's no flared up injuries, everyone's comfortable? Fantastic. Alright, and rest guys. Now we're going to move on to a lying quad stretch. So we're going to lie down just by our sides, just like so. The heel is going to come right to our glutes, but that's only half the stretch guys. The other half is physically pulling that leg away from us. So I'll demonstrate what that means. So once we get the heel to our glute, I want to pull my knee away from the body. So with my arm physically pulling it away from my body. Just like so. Awesome. So let's go just a little bit more. How's that? Feel good, Philip? I'm just going to get your knee to go backwards a little bit more. Be gentle. We'll go slow.
Lock the door. Philip wants to run out.
And you let me know when to stop. Yeah. Right about there? Okay. Hold that right there, Philip. Feeling it? Good stuff. Alright, awesome guys. Nice little static stretch. Hold for a couple more seconds. And just roll around to the other side now. Roll around to the other side and heels to your glutes. Grabbing your toes with your hands and then physically pulling that knee away from the body just to enhance the stretch of the quad. Awesome guys, spot on. Let's keep going. Alright, fantastic. Alright guys, now let's lie back on our backs and we're going to grab our resistance bands that we handed out at the start of the session. So these little black bands just here, let's all grab those. Lily, yours is just there next to you. Perfect, we all got them. Fantastic. Okay. So lying down, flattening our back. What we want to do, this is very important, is we want to place the elastic right in the middle of the foot. Right in the middle, just like this, guys. We don't want to have it too high up, otherwise it becomes a slingshot and you're going to shoot someone in the eye. That's a bit of a hazard. So let's avoid that. Bang in the middle of the foot, and that should keep that stability there. Now we're going to lie down on our back. I'm going to pull the band to gain a little bit of tension. Straighten my knee out as much as I can, and then physically pull my leg back towards my head, just like so. All while keeping the tension, guys. Alright, so give it your best shot. Let's just have a look at the band positioning. Fantastic, well done. Jenny, yeah, looking good. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Alright. Well, guys, so we've got the listening ears on tonight.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice one. It's a nice little stretch of the hamstrings, this one. Alright, beautiful. And swap legs, guys. Let's go. Opposite legs. Just a friendly reminder. Band in the middle of your foot. Alright. Fantastic. Well done. So make sure we get that nice little bit of resistance. Point down. Straighten our knee out. Really important that we achieve a nice straight leg. And once you do those two factors, let's pull your leg back towards our faces. Beautiful. Right guys, we're holding this stretch for roughly 15 seconds. So we have about another 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now with bands, we're going to wrap around both our toes. Both our feet, sorry. And right in the middle of the foot, as always. Band always in the middle of the foot. You're going to point your toes backwards towards you. And we're going to get that little bit of tension by spreading our legs out a little bit. Can everyone see me from down there? Yep, okay. And what we're going to do is external rotation of the ankle. So nice little resistance dynamic stretch for the ankles, guys. Nothing too strenuous, but it should be highly effective. It's just to get the ankles moving. A lot of people experience rolled ankles when you're going out, you're doing your cardio, you're going for a run, you might be playing a little bit of sport. Very common. There you go, that's what happened to Jenny. So the proof's in the pudding, guys. There you go. So this is not only rehab for Jenny, this is prehab for the rest of us, guys.
It's just, I was putting the nose on and I wasn't exercising.
Exactly.
That's the down point, you know. If I was exercising, it'd be good.
Definitely. And the ankle is one of 3 joints in the whole limb. Jenny, what's the other 2?
I'm telling you.
Go on, tell us. We've got the ankle, the knee, and the hip. Exactly right. So we'll be moving on and doing the knee and hip in a moment. However, before doing that, guys, we got one more stretch, which is another one for our hip flexors. So you keep in this position, band around the middle of our feet. Let's get that little bit of flexion. And nice dynamic pumps in an outwards direction. Yeah, you might feel that a bit in the glutes too.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's a good way to activate your glutes before doing some resistance exercise. Let's say you're doing squats, lunges, leg press. This is a nice way to warm them up and activate them. Or a good way to cool down, alternatively. Right, keep that resistance, nice straight legs, and let's get some dynamic movements. This is just going to activate and warm up your core and a little bit of your lower back. Just a reminder, if anyone's got any questions or anything's unclear, just feel free to yell out and I'll explain it a little bit further. Awesome, guys, well done. Fantastic efforts. Alright, we're going to pop onto our feet now, guys, and we're going to stretch our knees a little bit. Do a nice little dynamic stretch for the knees, little warm up, bit of activation. And we'll do a little bit for our hips, our calves, and our Achilles. Then we move on to the upper body. Right, for our knees, a nice one that I like to do personally before going for a run or playing a bit of touch footy is just put our feet together, knees together, hands just on the top of your knees, bottom of your quads, and rotate in a clockwise direction. Just like so. Awesome. So feel your feet right together. Let's bring them in just a touch closer. Perfect. Hands just on top of your knees and rotating in a clockwise direction.
Clockwise.
Yeah. Well, let's start off clockwise and then we will transition it anti-clockwise. Perfect. Awesome. Any pain in the knees, guys?
Yeah, always. But anyway.
Always a bit of pain. What do you feel?
I was listening to what.
Okay.
But like even at night when I sleep, I think
Is this more than a 3 out of 10 in terms of pain right now that you're experiencing?
Oh no, not right now.
Not right
But
now.
like if I'm sitting down at work,
Yeah.
or even at night in my sleep,
Yeah.
it gets pretty acute.
Very, very common that when you're a sedentary and you're sitting in an office on a chair for
I'm
a large,
totally sedentary, like 8 hours
for a large portion of the day, you might feel a little bit tight in the knees and also possibly the hamstrings and lower back.
It's starting to kill me now, yeah.
Do you feel like doing these dynamic movements are helpful for you?
Feels it.
Or it's aggravating something?
No, I think it's helpful overall, because I felt like the last one.
And clockwise, guys, clockwise. And have you had a knee injury in the past?
No, I think it's just
Okay, well let's proceed with caution.
Yeah.
And if you feel like it is a little bit too strenuous or you're starting to feel some uncomfortable pain, let me know and we'll just have a little break until the next stretch, which won't.
Usually sits when I'm not moving.
When you're not moving,
Yeah.
is that a common thing that you experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Although, it doesn't matter, like I take massive amounts of fish oil now, and that helps.
Bit of anti-inflammatories.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, understandable. Well,
I mean, I've had quite
the best way to go about it in terms of supplements is well balanced diet and good rehab techniques. Have you seen a physio or
You
anything?
can see a car.
A car? Okay.
I've had a lot of injuries in my life.
Yeah. Well, this is, you know what, flex is probably good for you because it's good for a whole body stretch, a little bit of conditioning, functionality, mobility.
One thing,
Yeah.
I have a slight degree of numbness in this part of my body.
So,
From an injury.
You tired, Jim?
So I don't necessarily feel,
Have a big day.
yeah.
you know, when you say you feel it there, I can feel it this
Okay.
side, but not necessarily this.
Understand? Yeah. Okay. Alright, well let's proceed and let me know if anything pops up. Okay? Awesome. Right, fantastic guys. So Lily, you might want to be a little bit cautious of this. You mentioned to me that you had 8 bursts in the hip. But what we're going to do is opening the gates. So this is our third joint in the lower limb, is your hips. Let's stretch them out. So knees up to 90 degrees, rotating outwards, and then coming back with our feet together. Feel it okay?
Yeah.
Your knees comfortable in that position? Quite simple. So knee up to 90 degrees. Okay, once you're in this position, rotate outwards, so external rotation, and then your feet coming back together, and repeat the process. So you're making a circle, exactly right.
Alright.
A very sophisticated circle.
It looks more confusing than what it is.
Yeah.
But when you run, everyone does this.
Awesome guys, alrighty. And let's swap around and do the other side. Alright, so legs up. External rotation with leg and coming back in a circular motion where your feet are together.
Okay.
Fantastic, well done. And Jenny, how's it going?
Good. I'm not joking.
I can't even
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
And
Did
they
you
said,
show any injuries?
they said it was really bad weakness and really stretched and swollen.
Is there any tears in the wings?
Yeah. I said, you can't get a boot. He said, it's too late.
Joints are too late for me. So just need to.
Yeah.
Well, joints physio, so if that's his advice,
Exactly.
I trust it.
Same here.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not even going.
And Lily, any pain in the hip? Any pain in the reversal? No, you feeling okay?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Right, continue to proceed. We're going to move on now, guys, to stretching out our calves. And we're going to finish with our calves and Achilles as we move to the upper limbs. So grabbing onto a solid surface that's stable and safe. So in your case, Philip, you can grab onto the wall here, that's okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to stretch out one leg just like so. Apply the pressure to the point of your toes, then bring your heels down to the ground, just like so.
To the back toes.
To the back toes, yeah, correct. Alright, so piece of equipment, yep, that's fine. Front door, or steady, or fantastic. Alrighty guys, no hazards, we're all looking good. Sweet. Right, the last thing we need is anyone to get injured in flex class, because that defeats the whole purpose of prehab and rehab. Right, well done. We're all going really well, guys. Proud of the efforts that we're putting in today. Alright, and let's swap the legs over. Awesome. Fantastic. So applying that initial pressure to the pads of the feet just before where the toes begin, and you want to bring those heels down flat onto the ground.